back with Damon and Lacey with Orlando's Family Farm. We got a special treat for you all tonight.
Can you start over? I wasn't sitting right. I was sitting like this.
What's going on, YouTube family out there? It's Damon and Lacey here with Orlando's Family Farm. We got a special treat for you all tonight. We're going to go over some of our top picks that we like to watch
Top 5
when it comes to homesteading. Some of our books that we're currently reading. This is just a short list condensed down for a quick little video we're going to end up having with you all. And then in the future, we're going to go over some of like our business planning and how we're going to model our farm, things of that nature. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. Remember to hit the like and subscribe button down somewhere
subscribe,
around
guys.
here.
Help us get to our first 100 subscribers by, I'm just randomly setting this goal. When do we want our first 100 subscribers by?
22 March.
Okay.
Boom.
Is that a month from now?
22 March.
100 subscribers in a month.
It's
Help
in
us
the
get
universe. It's happening.
there. All right. These are our top 5
1, 2, 3, 4.
documentaries about sustainable farming, homesteading, that we believe you should check out if you're super curious about just starting a garden, growing your own food. It doesn't even have to be like a large scale farm. You got to check these out. So the first one is probably our favorite, wouldn't you say?
They're all permaculture based, by the way. So
Yes.
if you're looking for monoculture or anything like that, there's plenty of
You ain't
channels
gonna
out
find
there
that here.
for you, but it's not going to be with this channel. So
Nope.
all right, first one, probably our favorite, one of the biggest ones that really got us into a cinematic version of it, to where we've seen that it could be done on a larger scale because Joel Salatin doesn't have his own YouTube channel, but we're going to get into him in a little bit. But the best
Biggest Little Farm. We went and seen it in movie theaters actually when it first came out.
Yep.
But you can watch it on Hulu or Amazon Prime.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we love it, babe?
Because it's a whole permaculture state, right? So it shows from the orchards to the animals to the people that are working with the land to rebuilding soil. They have this really cool worm tea. When you watch the movie, you'll know what I'm referring to. So it just basically gives you the whole concept, and it shows you how, as they have problems that arise on the farm, they use other animals and other solutions that are in nature and natural in the environment to take care of those problems that they come across. So don't want to get too much into the plot, but that's the gist of it. Really super good movie. Obviously, it's a larger scale, and it's actually what's the name of the farm though? Actually, Apricot Lanes.
Apricot Lanes. They also were just normal people. Never grew up on a farm, didn't have farming experience, but wanted to control where their food came from and wanted to live a more natural life.
And made a promise to a dog.
Yeah. So check it out.
Check it out.
All right. Second is our second favorite. I think I kind of did these in order, I feel like. But our second favorite is The Great American Farm Tour from the Rhodes family. You can watch it on, I wrote it down, Amazon Prime. We can attribute a lot of what we want to do from watching the Rhodes family. They renovated a bus and they went to 50 different farms, actually more than that, I think. Yeah. And went to every single state in the United States and just checked out different farms and different homesteads and showed how all of these families are making it work and growing their own food. And it was super inspiring. So
yeah, it was a super good movie. Love the family aspect of it. It showed a lot of different aspects of the family and everything else. It wasn't just the farms and the people that they were visiting. It gave a little bit of insight into everybody. So shout out to everybody that was featured on that documentary as well. Definitely really good documentary, and that's how we got into watching the Rhodes family on YouTube. Because we didn't even know that they were on YouTube prior to that movie. So number 3 is going to be Kiss the Ground. You can see that on Netflix. It came out last year in 2020. So it's a newer documentary that just came out. Woody Harrelson actually narrates the movie. Yeah. Super good movie. Talks about how you regenerate soil, the importance of all that, how monoculture farms have really kind of killed the soil and their surrounding areas to really make it really hard to sustain growing crops or agriculture on that property without injecting it with a bunch of pesticides and chemicals, and just really how you get back to using a holistic permaculture style to regenerate that soil with nitrogen and things like that.
Once the soil is depleted of its nutrients and is been sprayed with chemicals, it is so hard to return the soil back to growing. And that's why you'll find so many abandoned farms, or people just put up farms for sale because they've ruined the soil and they can no longer grow anything on it, and let alone you wouldn't want to buy something like that and put animals on it. So it really talks about how it's super important to try and avoid like heavy duty pesticides and growing the same crop over and over again and not replacing the nutrients in the soil. So
yeah, because essentially at the end of the day they end up spending just as much on chemicals to try to make the soil growable, if you will, if that's even a word, if it's not trademarked, again, for the families and everything else. So it's just kind of this continuous cycle to where when they finally get out of it, or they get to a point where they can't afford it anymore and they, God forbid, lose their farm, which obviously no matter what you grow, we never want to see that happen. Because some of the farms have been in the families for hundreds of years.
That's all they know is that farm.
It's really sad to see that. So you'll watch the documentary. It's really good. It gets more in depth into that, but not to spoil it.
And then the newest one just came out a couple of months ago. It's called Sacred Cow, and it talks about sustainable farming and sustainable agriculture, talking about how important it is to raise animals in their natural environments and not feed them chemical and antibiotic grains, and how the animals play a really, really important role in the ecosystem of a farm. Their manure helps fertilize the food that we grow on our farms. We feed to our animals, and they produce that into amazing, incredible organic meat. So it's really cool to see how, if you grow the animals a sustainable way, how that kind of comes full circle and makes your farm even stronger.
The carbon carpet, right? So you release less emissions out into the atmosphere and everything. It kind of keeps everything down at ground level, and restarts that circulative process.
Yep. And that wasn't the last one. The last one is Food Incorporated. This is an older documentary. You can find it on Hulu, and it's even on YouTube. You can watch it on YouTube for free. And it really talks about where we started to go wrong with our food system, and how after the war, and when fast food and frozen foods really became like this convenience factor, and growing food really became for profit as opposed to growing good sustainable food that feeds and is nutritious, and just how we kind of shifted from that to where we are now, where everywhere you go there's fast food, everywhere you go there's this food that's just filled with preservatives and chemicals. And so that's a really good one to watch. That was probably one of the first ones that we watched, actually, if I remember right.
Yeah. So
it's a great way to learn about where your food comes from, and how we should be growing food and how we shouldn't be growing food.
That's the key, right? The top YouTubers that we're currently watching?
We picked 3. We picked the ones that we watch the most frequently. Every night after we put the kids to bed, even with the kids, we watch these sometimes. Before we turn anything on TV, we go to our favorite YouTube channels and we watch their YouTube videos for the day. Our number 1, we're going to talk about them probably until we're blue in the face, because they're our favorite. Justin Rhodes Show on YouTube. They are incredible. Why do we love them?
Just the whole family concept again, right? Just like with their documentary, The Great American Farm Tour. The big thing with them is they involve the kids a lot and everything, and you get to see that whole aspect. And then obviously with a lot of these, you'll see they kind of go hand in hand together, because a lot of them go to each other's farms, and that whole community involvement that we want to see. There's a couple people that we'll talk about at the end that don't have YouTube channels, but they're featured on a lot of individual YouTube channels that are pretty important to us as well. But the Rhodes family, the more we get to know the background of their story and their history and everything, the more it's relatable.
Relate to their struggles a lot.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't call it struggles, their story, right?
Right.
I mean, at the end of the day, you only get what you can handle, and typically that's going to make you a lot stronger in life. So I would just say their story, not really.
And so that's Justin Rhodes Show. Second YouTube channel we really enjoy is The Fit Farmer. Mm-hmm. The wife's name is Lacey, and they are super cool. They live in a yurt. Do you know what state they live in?
They live in North Carolina.
North Carolina too.
Yep.
And they have a homestead that they show they involve their family. They have gardens, they have animals, so they're really cool. So you should check them out.
Yep, absolutely. And a lot of them, like I said, they're intertwined, right? So we found a lot of these once we started going back and watching a lot of the old Justin Rhodes shows and a lot of their older episodes. And then also on YouTube, when it pops up, the viewers have also watched. They just kept coming up. So finally we started clicking on them and checking them out, and we really like their message and a lot of the things that they have to put across and put out to the world. So.
And these 3 YouTubers all do sustainable farming like we're into too, and it's a family affair with them. Roots and Refuge is our last one that we're going to share with you. She lives in gardens and has goats, and so it's super cool to see that you don't need a ton of acreage or property or animals or anything like that to grow food for your family. So those are our top 3 favorite YouTubers. We obviously watch so many more. Let us know what your guys' favorite YouTubers are in the comments, and so we can find some new people to follow, especially if they're into homesteading and gardening and farming and that kind of stuff that we're into, or even like military bloggers. If you guys follow some cool military bloggers, we're into that too.
Joel Salatin, right, is a big one, and then Comfort Farms. They both don't have YouTube channels, but big shout out to those guys, especially Joel. A lot of this stuff, when you talk about permaculture, a lot of individuals, he's kind of like the grandfather of it, if you will. The one that originated this whole movement across the United States. And to read his books and to watch some of the shows that he's featured on, you see that it's a big message thing with him. And to hear his story and kind of what his dad and his family went through and everything before they got their property. Because at the end of the day, you got to always remember, even though some people get their property willed to them or left to them through generations of family and everything like that, at some point in time, somebody made the same move that we're trying to make now for our family, right? So if you're thinking about doing it, at the end of the day, it starts with you, right? So you're not going to be able to leave your family or have a family farm and legacy like that for hundreds of years if you don't ever go out and start it, because you want to sit there and feel sorry for yourself and say, oh, well, nobody left that for me, you know, whatever the case may be. So just big shout out to those 2 farms. Comfort Farms is a military backed farm. They help a lot of veterans and things like that out, and it's just kind of one of those things that we'd like to do when we get our farm up and running and we get up to Michigan and take care
Comfort
of
Farms
some of the things
doesn't have a YouTube channel, but they are on Instagram, so they post a lot of information on their Instagram. They also have a website, but like he said, their mission really resonates with what we want to do, and he's another really great resource that you can check out.
Absolutely.
All right, what are we reading?
So now we're going to get into some of the things we're reading. So these are just some of the farm books we're reading. We also read a lot of other things, entrepreneur books, YouTube
books,
for dummies,
wellness books, health books, holistic health books, all sorts of good stuff.
But in terms of farming, I got a staple here. So I've been through this one a bunch of times. So it's You Can Farm. So this is by Joel Salatin. Most of you out there probably already know this book or have heard about this book. It's a great resource. A lot of times you go back through, I've read through several chapters and then I go back and I look at another chapter. Some of the big things in there are just, you know, what centerpieces you're going to be. It's how to grow your business. Thank you, Vanna White. And how to take care of everything that you need to take care of on a farm. Biggest thing with this is this is not just a one-time use book, which I'm a big proponent of. I'm not one of those individuals that likes to go out and spend $35 on a book and maybe get 1 page worth of information that I'm going to utilize throughout the rest of my life. So big proprietor of books that you can go back and use again. I keep tapping the table. My wife yells at me for that all the time. So I'm going to try to stop that.
Puts a lot of meaning into it, guys. He means what he says.
But the big thing is it has continuous use, which a lot of Joel's books are like that. So go take a look at them. You can find them all over Amazon. He's got a new one, Polyface Designs, out, where you can get all of these blueprints to build all the structures you need for on your homesteading enterprise or on your farm if that's what you're trying to do. So what is it you're currently reading?
I'm reading Welcome to the Farm by Shay Elliott. I follow her on Instagram, and I first found her, actually, the Rhodes family went to their farm on the Great American Farm Tour. They have the Elliott Homestead. It's a super sweet homestead. You can follow them on Instagram or YouTube. But basically, this is everything you need to know to get started, kind of in a super cute, fun way. So it talks about dairy animals and gardening and beekeeping, canning, there's recipes, there's so much good stuff. It says, Welcome to the Farm is a comprehensive, fully illustrated guide to growing the very best food right in your own backyard. So this isn't even necessarily a farm per se. This is what you can use just in your backyard. So this has been a really great book. And once again, it's kind of a reference book, so you can go back to it. It's not something that you just read once and put away, like he said. So this is a really good reference too if you want to learn how to grow your own food in your backyard.
Yeah, and in the comments down below, in the description, we're going to go ahead and put links to the YouTube channels that we talked about, and then also to these books that we just talked about on here. So if you want to go check those out, you can go down to the links below. Go ahead and click on those links and go check them out. We're not sponsored by any of these individuals. Nobody coerced us to do any of these.
We're sharing what we love.
These resources or anything like that. This is just kind of what we view and how we view them. And then in the future, we're going to go over some of the things that we learned and some of the resources for like farming business plans, some of the VA options. We're still learning a lot to do with that. So be on the lookout for that. But hit that subscribe button. Make sure you give us a thumbs up. Comment what you want to see in the future. Comment if you got some other movies and stuff, because we're always down to
We're
watch,
always ready to
watch
learn.
new movies, read
Tell
new
us what
books.
you're reading. Tell us what you're watching.
Never have enough resources, right? So thanks, everybody. Let's grow together.